Let's dive right in. This incident in Palm Springs at the Fertility Clinic on May 17th, 2025, isn't just a random act of violence. It's embedded in a web of sacred numerology and cosmic timing.
Right, it's fascinating how the event is viewed as a convergence of both material and metaphysical energies. Can you break that down a bit?
Sure. The incident is seen as not only an act of political extremism, but also as a manifestation of deeper spiritual conflicts. The specific date, May 17th, 2025, carries layers of numerological significance. You add the digits 5, 1, and 7 to get 13, which reduces further to 4, and then somehow links back to 5.
That's wild. And then there's the year 2025, right? The digits here add up to 9, which ties into completion and humanitarian ideals. So the timing alone seems to point to an ending and a kind of transformation.
Exactly right. And then there's the location, Palm Springs. Numerologically, the name reduces to 11, which is a master number, a kind of portal number that suggests spiritual insight and even a thinning of the veil between realms.
So in essence, the site is charged with these spiritual vibrations that, according to this view, amplify the significance of the event. But what about the facility itself?
The American Reproductive Centers. Its name reduces to 7, which is all about spiritual truth and creation. And here, the act of violence against such a symbol of reproductive creation brings in an extra layer of irony, or perhaps a reflection on the sacred process of creation that's been disrupted.
It's like attacking the heart of creation itself. And then there's also mention of the facility's location near East Taquitz Canyon Way, which is tied to shamanic imagery and legends. That adds another dimension entirely.
Exactly. When you combine that with the astrological timing, the bombing happened just 3 days after a powerful Scorpio lunar eclipse. The picture deepens. Scorpio, as you know, is associated with death, rebirth, transformation, and even reproduction.
Right. So the lunar eclipse acts as a sort of cosmic catalyst here, accelerating tension and making hidden energies more palpable.
Yeah, it's like the eclipse served as an energetic portal that brought these shadow aspects to the surface. It seems intentional, almost as if the universe itself is sending a message about the dangers of interfering with natural cycles.
Yeah, that brings up this notion of a self-correcting universe, doesn't it? This whole event only resulted in one fatality, the perpetrator, which could be seen as a form of karmic balance.
Exactly, and that's one of the most intriguing parts. The lone fatality suggests that violence against the essential creative force ends up turning back on itself. Many spiritual traditions talk about how harm directed at life's natural processes ultimately self-destructs.
I get that perspective, but don't you think that's a bit of a stretch? It seems to assume that all events are divinely orchestrated, which might not fit with more conventional views.
That's a fair challenge. I mean, the conventional narrative definitely focuses on political extremism and security lapse. But here, the numerological and astrological elements suggest there's a multi-layered reading, a blend of physical reality with deeper cosmic symbolism.
So, we're essentially looking at this as an event that mirrors the ongoing societal polarization around reproductive rights and more broadly our relationship with creation itself.
Yes, that's spot on. The polarization in society, especially in reproductive issues, is mirrored in these energetic imbalances. And when you add in numerical cues, like the creation number 7, the spiritual portals of 11, the event becomes a kind of microcosm of a larger spiritual battle.
And then there's also the interplay of sacred geometry with the city grid patterns in Palm Springs, right? The layout of the city, with Mount San Jacinto forming a pyramid shape, is said to create an energetic vortex.
Exactly, it's like the very geography is contributing its own energy to the event. The pyramid shape is known in many traditions as an energy amplifier. So here you have a setting that not only has spiritual numerical codes, but is also physically arranged in a way that enhances these energies.
Right? That makes you wonder how much of our environment influences events on a cosmic level. Do you think that these numerical and geometric patterns are merely symbolic, or do they actively shape reality?
It's tough to say with absolute certainty, but many believe these patterns are more than symbolism. They could be seen as blueprints for how energy flows through our world. In this case, the intertwining of numbers, geometry, and cosmic events might actually point to a deliberate design in the unfolding of history.
Yeah, that's a bold claim. Almost as if we're saying the universe has a plan written in numbers.
Precisely, and that's why the incident is so charged. It's seen as a confrontation between man-made interventions in technology and medicine and the timeless divine principles of creation.
And speaking of divine principles, the analysis touches on the divine feminine and how our approach to reproductive technology needs to honor natural processes. That seems to be another critical theme here.
Right, the ethical boundaries between scientific advancement and spiritual wisdom are key here. It calls for us to re-examine our relationship with the creative process. The attack might be interpreted not just as an act of destruction, but also as a warning, a reminder to respect the natural order of things.
Exactly. It's almost like a wake-up call. But I'm a bit skeptical about reading too much into these numbers. How do we balance that with, say, real-world security adjustments and preventing future incidents?
That's a valid point. While many on the numerological side see these events as karmically balanced or divinely coordinated, the conventional viewpoint focuses on improving security and addressing the political extremism behind the attack. The two narratives aren't mutually exclusive. They just operate on different planes of understanding.
Yeah. So we might say, on one hand, there's the practical need to protect reproductive health care, and on the other, a reminder from the cosmos to seek harmony with creation.
Exactly. And then you'll see numbers like 33, often associated with spiritual mastery and initiation, cropping up in connection with the location. Palm Springs sits near 33 degrees north. It's as if every detail, from the date to the surroundings, adds another layer to the message.
And the correlation with ancient traditions too, like the role of the number 7 in the Genesis creation story. It all points to an ongoing dialogue between our modern world and age-old spiritual truths.
Right, and let's not forget the reference to Hebrew gematria. Words like fertility, bombing, and creation carry specific numerical values that further weave this narrative of divine justice and cosmic order.
It does add a mystic dimension. I mean, interpreting a bombing through the lens of sacred geometry and numerology is unusual, but it really challenges us to consider a multidimensional view of reality.
Exactly, and that's where the conversation gets really engaging. When you look at the energy of the location, the intrinsic sacred geometry of Palm Springs, and overlay that with the cosmic energy of an eclipse and master numbers like 11 and 33, you start to see a story that's far richer than a simple act of violence.
Yet, I can see why some would argue that it's overinterpretation, seeing messages where maybe it's just coincidental mathematics.
True, and I respect that critique. It's important to balance skepticism with openness. The key here is that whether you lean towards a conventional narrative or a numerological one, both stress the impact on our collective consciousness and the urgency of addressing our ethical boundaries when it comes to creation and reproductive technology.
Exactly. And that tension between technology and nature, between human ambition and natural law, is at the heart of the discourse. It's like every element of the incident is a mirror reflecting our internal conflicts as a society.
Right, I mean, the synthesis of ancient wisdom with modern events challenges us to rethink our place in the world. As much as it's about shock and calamity, it's also a call for meditative awareness and community dialogue about what it truly means to create and nurture life.
I love that perspective. It transcends the immediate act of violence and forces us to ask, how do we align our scientific progress with the sacred processes of life?
Exactly. It's like the universe is insisting that every action, even those that seem disastrous, is interwoven with cosmic patterns that demand our reflective engagement and ethical responsibility.
Yeah, and maybe in acknowledging these patterns, we can better navigate the intersection of technology, spirituality, and human values as we move forward.